say anything about my
Podcast. It's the Streakers. Island Podcast. It's the Streakers. Island Podcast. Welcome everybody to the Streakers Island Podcast. Dan is eating his depressed ice cream because he projected the Pacers would win. Lane, I guess you don't need a snack for when your team loses. You just take it like a man.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you haven't complimented me on my outfit change. You know, Chazzy's not the only one who can do an outfit change.
Good guy, say. I saw you a new shirt. Good for you.
I put a different Raptor shirt on.
I see ya. We're back.
The former Raptor was unable to get the job done with the Indiana Pacers losing
change too.
103-91. And obviously, the biggest story of this will be Tyrese Halliburton suffering that critical injury. Like, I don't think there's anything else that's really going to top it. But I actually feel this was a winnable game for the Pacers, and they just ran out of gas in the third quarter, which is kind of what I said was going to happen. I said, I don't know if Halliburton is healthy enough to actually go. And unfortunately, I like I said, I was really hoping I was wrong. But I mean, it wasn't a 25-point blowout the way I called it because the Pacers fought like hell in that third quarter to climb back in that game. But at the end of the day, they just ran out of gas, and you can't turn the ball over 23 times, right? That's the big stat. There were two major issues there, and unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. But Lane, what are your thoughts here? I know you really felt the Pacers could do this. Like, do you feel it was just the Tyrese Halliburton injury, or do you think this team just ran out of gas, or a combination?
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna. I said I don't know if I'm gonna get the circus book or the clown book. I may get a combination, but I'm gonna keep it a buck here. I think if Halliburton plays the whole game, I think the Pacers win this no problem. I 100%. I think if Halliburton could have stayed healthy the entire game and played the way he was playing through those first 10 minutes, I don't think the Thunder are walking out here the champions. Now, mind you, they still played a fantastic game, and at the end of the day, whoever won is won. You can't go back in time. You can't say shoulda, coulda,
turn back time.
You can't go back to shoulda, woulda, coulda. But at the end of the day, I just look at it like, you know what? Like the way the game started, Tyrese Halliburton had 9 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
The team was on fire. The team was looking good. Of course, unfortunately, I texted the boys as soon as it happened. I felt it too. You could almost feel like he knew it too. Like when he fell down, like the emotions started pouring out, and it really did feel like a kind of such a torturous blow. And I said this to the guys on the way home. It's like, we talked about the team atmosphere versus the superstars.
What guys?
You,
the
boys.
Boy, tell them.
But like I was saying to the boys here tonight, but like when you build a team atmosphere and you don't go for that superstar like three-piece, which is what the OKC more have, and you have a player get hurt, unfortunately, it's going to hurt more when you can't just be like, well, we'll just have this guy step up because we have three of them compared to one of them. And, it's unfortunate the Indiana Pacers, but again, I understand they're emotional and I understand they're sad right now. And they're probably feeling 100 different emotions, but they have nothing to be ashamed of right now.
Oh, no, not at all.
I think this is a fantastic series. I think even in this game tonight, even though the third quarter was kind of a blowout, I think the fourth quarter they really did. I actually think they kind of played pretty good considering, the game was pretty much over, but they were able to force the starters back onto the court because it started to feel like maybe this game isn't over from a 22-point deficit all the way down to a 9-point deficit. So you got to give the credit to the Pacers in this series. It was supposed to be a blowout. They got to 7. They did everything they could. But at the end of the day, the Thunder had I don't know if they had the better team, but they had the better players. And tonight when Halliburton went out, that's who won.
Now, I do want to say right away, I want to bring in some key points that I said had to happen for OKC to win, and it did. Alexander,
Hamilton guy question.
40 minutes. So remember I said he's got to play at least 40. And I don't think he was basically pulled out of this game until they felt it was out of reach. And then the Pacers went on a run in that fourth quarter, and he came back in. Number 2, turnovers. Turnover margin was like 3-1 in this game, right?
It was bad.
And OKC were able to capitalize on said turnovers.
I just want to
Now,
say,
I have a very Dan, let me finish, bruh. The only thing I will say for OKC, I'm actually taking Lane's side here. If Halliburton doesn't, you shot the 3 absolutely terribly. OKC here. Like, you look here, Alexander 2 for 12 from the 3, Dort 2 for 9, Williams 2 for 7, Chet Holmgren, which, by the way, I thought Chet had his best game of the playoffs tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think everyone talks about who was the difference maker. He was the difference maker because the post was just gone, right? And I honestly, I thought it was going to be a bit of a mixed match because of Siakam's speed, and Chet was just like, nah, bro, I got this.
No, he was
right? And he completely, 8 rebounds in total, 2 offensive rebounds, 6 defensive, but here's the big one. 5 blocks and a +10 when he was on the court.
Yeah.
Every single starter for OKC was a plus player on the court.
Yep.
And that is absolutely huge. Unfortunately for Indiana, by the third quarter, you just ran out of gas. And Lane, I agree with you to a point that if Halliburton's in this game, this could be a different story. However, I want to give a huge shout out to McConnell because
he was awesome.
He played phenomenal. 24 points, 33 minutes, 2 for 5 from 3, 10 for 10 at the line, 6 for 14 overall. 8 for 13 overall shooting, and 16 points. Sorry, I was reading the wrong line. But like, this is a guy that came in, and he looked heartbroken.
He really did. Yeah,
he did everything he could.
He had a very strong game, and the thing is, for the Pacers, you are always going to wonder if Halliburton doesn't go out early. In 7 minutes, he went 3 for 4 from 3-pointers and 9 points.
He looked so good.
That will always be the number one question here. But at the end of the day, OKC found a way to get it done. But I think if you're the Pacers, you're feeling pretty good about You took OKC to the brink, and I would even argue in this game you took them to the brink. Yeah, the third quarter was bad. But as Lane, as you said, you got this down to a 9-point game in the fourth quarter to actually get Williams and Dort and Alexander back on the court. And I'm going to be real here. Alexander in the last bit in the fourth quarter was terrible. Yeah. He was missing shot after shot after shot. And I'm looking at my family. I'm like, oh boy, you know what? The Pacers might be able to climb back in. Unfortunately, then Chet was just making defensive play after defensive play after defensive play. Now, and I say that, obviously, Alexander winning the MVP, or I think it should be the MVP for most valuable baller, clearly was the best player in this series and clearly deserved the award.
Well, there's someone I want to give.
Are you disagreeing?
No. There's someone I do want to. There's someone I want to give respect to, and I just wanted to pull up his contract. And I think this guy is about to get paid. I wanted to actually look at his contract, but I wanted to give a big shout out tonight to Benedict Mathurin. Because, man, that guy tonight, when his team was down and everyone was sitting around, kind of sulking and kind of felt like the inevitable was over, this guy never stops, man. No. This guy just keeps going and going and going and shooting threes and shooting twos and stealing. And I felt like I was like, I did at one point kind of wonder, like, maybe if everyone played like this, they would have won. Like, this guy's out here like balling up. I couldn't believe some of the plays this guy's making in the last 3 minutes. He's going out there, he's stealing the ball, he's shooting the three, he's shooting the two. This guy, I don't even know if this guy ever goes to sleep. And like 24 points tonight, and he's 23 years old and a restricted free agent. So, wow. This is a guy, after tonight's appearance in the finals and Game 7 outplayed, I'm expecting this guy to get paid because he played like an MVP, even though he wouldn't get it. But if they might have won, he could have been the MVP of the game.
Actually, another big player for the Pacers, too, I thought was Nebahar. I know his point totals weren't anything crazy, 15 points, but he was doing a very good job at containing SGA. SGA, you will never completely shut him down, but you can contain him. And I felt they did that for the most part here. Like, I mean, he did get 12 assists, which is a playoff career high for SGA. Because I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lane, but he's not a guy that's known for getting multiple assists. He's usually more the guy that's getting out there and getting the buckets himself.
Yeah, for
At
sure.
least from what I've seen in these playoffs as well. But you take away the funny thing is, if you take away the third quarter, and I understand there's 4 quarters in a basketball game. I do understand basic math. But OKC led the first quarter 25-22. Indiana led the second quarter 26-22, so we would have had a tie game, right?
Point lead.
Then we have Indiana leading the fourth 23-22. That third quarter unfortunately cost them a championship.
Yep.
It sucks. I honestly think this team just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
I really think the Pacers, because let's be honest, the OKC is the better team.
Yep.
And the Pacers just ran out of gas. I think if you're Indiana, I actually don't think you need to go and get another quote unquote superstar. I think you keep the mold, and if Halliburton stays healthy this game, I'm not saying you would have won for sure, but you would have had you would have been right there. I think this game might have been an overtime thriller. This may have went down as one of the greatest game 7s in NBA history in the finals.
Would have made it more interesting for sure, just as a fan standpoint too, right? At least it wasn't a complete blown out. That would have been bad if it was like 40 points. But let's be honest.
Well, it looked like it was going to be.
You get 20 free turnovers, you cannot win a game. Imagine, here's an example for you. Imagine if there was a football game with 20 free turnovers.
Well, that's a little different, but yeah.
Like the score would be crazy.
But at the same time, when you just to bring in another stat on the other side, OKC went 11 for 40 from 3. That's bad, right? Like, and the Pacers did out rebound them 45-40. Like the Pacers, and they were better on the free throws, 75.9% to OKC 71%. This just came down to what team had more gas. And unfortunately, the Pacers just ran out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what it comes down to. And I do agree with you, Dan. The turnovers were a nightmare, 23-8.
Oh, yeah. You can't do that.
But what I'm saying is, though, if Halliburton wasn't injured, you do wonder if the turnovers on one side to the missed 3-pointers on the other side might have canceled each other out. I don't think OKC played a perfect game here, to be honest with you. And when you guys are going on about OKC being a dynasty, that's why I laughed so hard and got so angry.
I'm not saying they're a dynasty.
There's no way in hell this team is a dynasty. I'll be honest with you. I'll be absolutely shocked if OKC wins it again next year.
It's their first championship ever, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's great. Congratulations to them, and it's awesome to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Hamilton, from Canada. You know what I mean? We are seeing more and more great Canadian basketball players every year. And isn't this back-to-back years with like a Canadian kind of running the show in the finals? We had Murray, right? Last year, or was that 2 years ago? Jamal Murray.
I think that was 2 years because last year,
whatever, close enough.
I believe it was Boston.
Speaking of last year, I do remember one thing about the NBA Finals last year.
Oh boy,
anything's possible.
That was not last year, so that's okay.
Same team, but
that's what the guy did. Look it up on YouTube.
That was not.
That was a while ago.
That was a long time ago, Dan.
Wasn't 2024. Look it up.
No, it wasn't.
No, Dan. This is the problem when you believe everything you see on Instagram.
That was Kevin Garnett, and
that was Kevin Garnett like 20 plus years ago, dude.
No, dude.
Yes, it was, Dan. It was Kevin Garnett. Yes, you saw someone posted it last year, but it happened over 20 years ago.
On TV.
Dan, there was televisions 20 years ago.
No, the Boston Celtics, dude. Went, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
That was Kevin Garnett.
The same team won different years. Unless maybe someone did it as a meme when they won.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Maybe that's possible. I don't know.
Anything's
possible.
I got to look this up now and see if they actually did that. But
Do
No,
it.
but I'm curious. I'm curious for your guys' opinions here. Where do both of these teams go from here? I mean, OKC, they did win a championship, but would
It's gonna be costly now.
do you guys think I'm crazy though when I say I think OKC actually does have some room for improvement? I think that
Oh,
I
I
think they
do,
need a
they-
better bench.
Oh,
I think
100%.
Your bench was not good enough.
68 out of 82 games and won the championship. I
Yeah,
mean,
Dan, and you almost lost to a team that went 50-32.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
being. I'm going to be
Games
honest
against
here.
the
If the
Thunder Rain.
Boston Celtics beat the Indiana Pacers, are we seeing OKC winning a championship this year? And I don't know. There's no disrespect to the Indiana Pacers, but this was projected to be a sweep, and it took you 7. I do think this team still has room for him. I don't. Okay, Dan, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. The Florida Panthers have absolutely nothing to improve on. That team is perfect for playoffs.
Jacob,
They are
you
built.
never
Perfect.
know what would have happened if Boston won because anything's possible.
Last year. Comment section, please help me out and correct Dan on this. We have a lot of people watching right now. They just have their keyboards on mute. Oh, they actually don't. Hello. You can't go, but you still go hard. I'm carrying my wavy chips and ghost pepper hot sauce into this post game. Oh boy, I cannot do ghost pepper hot sauce.
I'm either rocking in the NBA Finals. I was either rocking a homemade buffalo chicken dip or Roma pizza if you live in Hamilton, because that stuff's amazing.
We need to try Roma pizza.
Roma's
We haven't
good.
tried it
It's
yet.
so
We've had
what?
Roma food, but not Roma pizza.
When my Toronto friend came down, I never had Roma pizza. I brought him to the place. I'm like, we're having Roma pizza, bro.
Well, I'm
gonna go there right now, even though they're closed. I won't break in. I'll call the owner because I don't want to break the window. But I'm like, we need to give the Moore brothers some Roma pizza right now. I'm gonna come there tomorrow.
And I will say too, by the way, my game snacks were all dressed crispers and a half moon. Not that I half mooned anyone. It's like a dessert treat. We're back to the comment section about Roma pizza. Roma pizza is top tier for Brandon.
Brendan, this is the guy I brought. This is the guy I bought it for.
I had a drumstick, but not chicken. It was ice cream.
So I will say, Grey Cup food though. No. You got to get the big KFC bucket, right? Because Grey Cup, and that's one thing. The one time we had KFC before the Grey Cup final, my Argos didn't make it. They lost. So I've now told the family coming into Grey Cup, like, we're having KFC. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not allowed. It's against the rules.
Cowabunga pizza is always a good pizza too.
I haven't tried Cowabunga either, and I've heard that's really good, but it's expensive.
It
No,
is.
we go Famos.
We go to Famo. It's this locally owned. I don't know why we're talking food now, but that's okay. This is locally owned pizza joint just around in our neck of the woods, and
I gotta try that one day.
delicious pizza. Really nice people, very fresh ingredients. Their
Really
barbecue
good chicken wings too.
Mwah. Oh, their French fries too are awesome.
No, chicken wings, I said.
The half moon is anything like a moon pie. Boom. The moon you need is the blue moon or Dr. Pepper for the non-alcoholic or non-alcohol.
I'm not a big blue moon food beer fan.
Now, mind you, too, a half moon is not alcohol. It's literally just this like pastry with like white cream in it. No bad jokes in the comments about that, please. But no, at the end of the day, I think the Indiana Pacers, mind you, I think this team, I would probably keep the structure you have.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Maybe you pick up one guy in free agency if you have some room. Like maybe you can find an extra piece just to help it, just in case you get Tyrese Haliburton does get hurt. Maybe you get some backup insurances and maybe another star that's not too expensive where you have to lose expense to the players you already have. But
well, and that's the thing, because I think to bring in another star, you have to take a hit on your bench, and your bench was a big reason why you got as far as you did.
Yeah.
So my question is, and this is more of a question for Lane, because Dan, no offense, you have absolutely no clue.
Okay.
By the way, it looks like OKC is signed for all next year, so that's huge. And they've got the entire team is signed.
But what are other teams doing for the future? Are they still going big three, or are they going to take the Pacers look? Because the Pacers look, you can't deny saying it didn't work. Like, yeah, they lost in Game 7 of the finals, but it was a hell of a game. In 3 out of 4 quarters, it was neck and neck.
I think you can do either or, right? Like I just say maybe this is the start of the new era, and I do think if the Pacers won, maybe it would have changed my mind. But I think teams might still look at the top, trying to get these 3 guys, because you can see, again, like I said, what happens when you do try to take that approach, you lose one guy, now you're in a situation like, oh no, what do we do now? Whereas if you have 3 guys that are all bringing the talent in, you can kind of rebound. And we talked about that earlier, Brendan, as well. Yeah, Kevin Durant, Houston Rockets.
Brendan. Okay. I'm kidding.
Anyway.
Yeah, Kevin Durant is a Houston Rocket, but I guess I'll be honest, I'm still 50-50. I'm still 50-50 if that trade's going to work out for Houston or not at Kevin Durant's age.
They gave up a lot of pieces, man.
They did. Didn't they give up like 5 or 6 second-round picks too? Like, that's a lot.
Dylan
they could have
Brooks
got like 5
Green.
Bronny James Juniors.
Dylan Brooks is really good, man.
They gave up some good players now and the future. I think if the Rockets don't win a championship for the next year or go all the way, that trade's you're going to look back at that trade and be like, ugh.
He's just old. If he wasn't so old, if this was like 3 or 4 years ago, I'd be like, banger trade. But I don't get the age. But I'm like, ugh.
But this makes 39. Me question more. And I like to bring it back to Canadian content because we do live in Canada, and the Toronto Raptors are looking to kind of figure out their mesh, and I think maybe this shows the Raptors don't necessarily have to go out and get another superstar,
right?
But maybe they can do it with what they got, with their new 3. With some good bench pieces. And Brandon, you are right. He might be washed. He might be having a shower as we speak here on the Rikers Island podcast.
Just like Aaron Rodgers.
Ba, 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 ba!
Oh, come on.
I'm not kidding. Aaron Rodgers, he is more washed than a blanket after I just put it in the dryer. He is washed.
I just want to see Dan's reaction.
But
he's not here to help him out.
Exactly. Dan's outnumbered. Just like a CFL quarterback that we're going to talk about on our pre-recorded that I think it might be a little washed.
Bro.
Life does not suck. Life is what you make it, so let's make it right. Miley Cyrus.
I'm just kidding. I'm trying to find that quote and I can't find it.
Okay, Brendan, you're here. What did when the player said anything is possible? Did that happen like 15 years ago or last year?
That was like 20 years ago. Never mind 15. It was Kevin Grant.
Okay, was it last year or was it more than 10
years ago? That was not last year.
Because if Brendan will back me up, this was the guy didn't go, anything is possible. Actually, that was like the early Celtics. That was not the last year Celtics. But Brendan will back me up here. See, 2008.
2008.
There you go.
I swear to God it was last year.
No, Dan, they posted it on ESPN's YouTube 15 years ago. Kevin. I will literally, I'm legitimately pulling it up for you boys.
I know what it is.
Yeah, but
I was even almost right on the years. I was only 1 year off. I said 15. It was 16. Well, maybe 17, but yeah.
2008. Poor Dan.
I was like 13.
Oh, Lane, don't say that to Dan and I.
You're the same age, Jacob.
Lane and I are not the same age.
They are.
No, we're not. Lane, how old are you?
30.
You're 30?
Yeah.
I'm also 30.
I'm not a kid.
Wowzers. I had co-ops who were born.
So you were 13 too.
Oh, I thought you said you were 3.
No, I said 13.
I was so confused.
Oh my God.
Okay, Dan, are you talking about this clip?
Yeah, that's why I just see.
11-time All-Star, League MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Now it's time to add to your resume, NBA champion. How does that sound?
That's possible.
Man, I'm so hyped right now. Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
That was not a year ago, Dan.
No,
we are not going to watch Call Me Kevin right now.
No, I think someone else did it, bro.
No, they didn't.
The guy was wearing a white jersey with green lettering. He was wearing a green sweater of white lettering.
I don't think this happened. I think this is
Yeah,
one of those
it did last year.
Just
No,
one of
it
those
didn't.
And that clip was at the center of the court. The other one was more on the other side.
Dan, I think you got tricked by deep fake AI again on Instagram.
No,
But why a blanket? Why not a shirt? Thank you for not saying something else as it's a kid's show. And I say a blanket because, okay, I'm just going to say this right now. There is nothing better than having an ice cold house and a perfectly warm blanket. It's like getting hugged by a blanket. By the boogeyman.
I wouldn't want to wear a blanket right now. It's too hot out.
That's why you got to have your AC blasted, bro.
That's right. I'm
You don't have
inside
an air-
now.
And if you don't have it, by the way, we're not sponsored by air conditioners. But we
But
could.
if we were, but we could be.
But no, I gotta say though, I think for the NBA, they besides the ending being Halliburton getting hurt, this is exactly what you want from an NBA Finals.
Oh, for sure.
7 games, back and forth, 2 very evenly matched teams. And I think we may see a change from teams maybe less looking to go and get 3 superstars. I really do, because I think the Pacers showed it can work.
Yeah, and
You don't necessarily need to spend all your money on 3 players. You can go and get good players. And I'm hoping the Raptors are the next team. Like I this is going to sound weird, and I know I'm already talking about the beginning of next year, and Lane's so sick of it that he turned off his camera. My duck's turned its head away. No. You got to hear the stream, Ducky the Third. I think the Raptors are making the playoffs next year. And they're going to do it by this system, the way the Pacers are built. By the way the Pacers are built, this is the way the Raptors are going to build the same team.
So would
And
you?
they're not going to get filled up on Grey Cup snacks or Roma pizza. They're not washed. I just want to put up a bunch of comments here. I'm back in the day.
Jacob, okay. So let me ask you then.
Let me ask you a question.
You're the Raptors GM. Nice to meet you.
Oh, thanks.
Would you if you had an opportunity to get Giannis Antetokounmpo or get 2 lower end players, what would you do?
It depends. Okay. It depends. Right now, they're saying to get Antetokounmpo, I have to trade Scotty Barnes. I'm like, what is the point? I am trading one of my best players to bring in a good player. And if Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to carry a mediocre team on his back to a championship, he would have done it this year.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't. Unless I can trade future pieces. I'm talking 3-4 years down the road. But if I got to trade Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett and Grady Dick to get him, then no, I'm not going to do it. What's the point? That is like saying to Pittsburgh, we will trade you Sidney Crosby if you trade us Connor McDavid. What's the point? Even though you could argue Connor McDavid is a better player right now than Sidney Crosby, it doesn't make either one of those teams really any better or any worse. Actually, maybe Edmonton's a little. I'm going to call it here. Maybe Edmonton's a little better because Crosby wouldn't go an entire Stanley Cup Finals with 1 goal. But I don't know. I kind of just want to see a shift in the NBA. I'm sick and tired of being about 1 or 2 or 3 players. Do you think even when the Raptors won, it wasn't 3 superstars, right? Kawhi Leonard was the superstar. Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam were both just good players. They weren't superstars. The Raptors won off their depth, right? Yep. So bringing in Giannis Antetokounmpo, if you can bring Giannis Antetokounmpo in while keeping Brandon Ingram and keeping Scotty Barnes and keeping RJ Barrett, then sure. But if I have to get rid of 2 of those guys to do it, then what's the point?
Something called the Kawhi Leonard trade happened.
The Kawhi Leonard trade was actually trading DeMar DeRozan 1 superstar for another superstar.
Right.
That's different.
So
that's
apparently we are wrong.
Situation.
Jacob, apparently we are wrong. Apparently Jason Tatum did copy him.
Oh, Dan's right.
I'm watching the clip now. Should I put it up? He did copy him.
Hold on here. Okay, but what if the island went after dark and no one was under 18 knew anything about the island or anything virtual whatsoever? There's a conspiracy theory for you, Dan. Island after dark. Then yes, if we had a Streakers Island only fans where we always keep our clothes on, then we.
Well, I mean, you know.
Oh, goodbye, Dad. No, bye. I don't want to see him strip. And back to the comment section again with Brandon saying Siakam was a perfect number 2 for Kawhi. I do agree with that.
Yeah, he was.
And the thing is, though, you had Kawhi Leonard, who was the superstar, Pascal Siakam, who was the perfect secondary option, and Kyle Lowry, who was the perfect leader. Because I still say to this day that was Kyle Lowry's team, even though he wasn't the best player on the team. That was his team, which brings me to a whole other conversation. And screw it, we're here, we're chilling like villains. Why does your captain have to be your best player?
No clue.
Your leaders shouldn't always be your best player.
I agree.
Oh, as a Rangers fan, I'm not happy. We want to get rid of everything. We said goodbye to Kreider's, we dumped, and before we dumped basically all of our defense, pulling a Calgary, the big dump without an actual plan.
Wow.
You know what? That's a great point about the New York Rangers, which just so everyone's aware, we will be doing lots of coverage leading up until the NHL free agent frenzy. We're going to be dropping our list of top free agency, showing 5 players for each, our top 5, then our top 10, then our top 15. Then we'll do another special, which will be our top 40. And remember, quick little thing here. This is something I was always known for on my former show. It's not the TSN list. If you want the TSN list, go to TSN. You want the self-proclaimed analysts list, not the TSN list. That's the same as every other damn list you see everywhere. No. You come here for a difference. DJ Khaled. What's up, Dan? Go ahead.
Well, I would say the NHL, now that all the championships are over, it's still a lot going on. The NHL draft is June 27th, 28th. This year we'll be talking about that. We're bringing in Bly Pup as the CHL specialist to talk about that too, hopefully. Then you got like free agency. We'll probably see some trades happening during the draft too. So, like, there's still a lot going on here on the island. So stay tuned, everyone.
And of course, there's CFL going on still, right? And the CFL, I still argue there's nothing more exciting than CFL football. Like I will argue that until the cows come home.
And then we got the Jays to talk about too.
And we got the Jays. Well, the Jays, it just depends if they decide to play or not. I mean, they show up, do they play? But I mean, here's another one here. I agree on the captain. Some good players are the furthest things from leaders, and that's why I don't like that 100%. Necessarily. Like you look at that Raptor championship team, right? And Kyle Lowry was not your best player at that point in his career. He was probably your third best player. He was probably the third option out of, even though he had some moments where he really put the team on his back. And I still argue Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor of all time, not Vince Carter. People can argue. How many rings does Vince Carter have, Dan, as a Raptor?
How many slam dunk championships does Lowry have?
Individual award versus team award. Vince Carter also straight up admitted he didn't try his hardest in Toronto, which is why I never felt the same about Vince Carter as other people did. But I digress. I'm old enough to remember that for you young whippersnappers on the island. But I feel like the leader isn't always the best player. In this case, Alexander is the leader of OKC, and he's your best player.
Yeah, and I would argue that
the same with Haliburton.
Yeah, 100%. Like I
don't know if you guys saw it in the post game when he was on his crutches, still like talking to his teammates going down the tunnel. That just really shows leadership.
Yeah, that was
actually, and I'm going to call this too. It shows very different leadership between him and Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid just stood by himself when the Oilers lost again.
That's true, he did.
Haliburton was going to his teammates when he could barely walk to go talk to his teammates, saying, "Hey guys, come on, good job, good effort," right? Where Connor McDavid, it's kind of like if you remember too when Ovechkin started screaming at Samsonov to make a save when he hadn't scored a goal the whole series, right? Like that's why I don't always feel the leader is necessarily the best player. Haliburton is your best player in the Pacers. Dan, I could see why you say Siakam. I think maybe Siakam is maybe your best individual offensive player, but Haliburton is your best overall player and your leader of that team.
Yeah. Well, I pointed that out about Haliburton when he was in the tunnel. I said, give him so much respect. He just lost. Yeah.
That's a perfect comment, by the way. Lowry is the greatest Raptor, Vince most talented. I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Or who's more talented, Vince Carter or DeMar DeRozan? That could be a whole
probably
other
Vince Carter.
I'd probably Vince Carter, but DeMar DeRozan played a hell of a lot like Vince Carter.
He didn't argue Tracy McGrady, but that's another
story. Oh, man, that was another phenomenal player.
But anyway,
I
was talking about. Yeah, I gotta give Haliburton so much respect. He just lost the finals. He's injured. He's standing in the hallway on his clutches, bro. On the clutches still, congratulating his teammates. I give him tons of respect for that. You don't see a lot superstars doing that. So good on him.
But here's an interesting one here. Back to McDavid here. Edmonton made McDavid captain too young. It was Maroon in reality when Maroon was dumped. Nuge, which I'm assuming you mean Nugent Hopkins should have got it. I don't agree with Evander Kane being the captain. I mean, we've had a lot of long rants about Evander Kane as much as Dan likes him. Probably likes him shirtless like Kevin Brown and William Nylander. But I could actually, you know what though? I could see Ryan Nugent Hopkins being more of the captain than Connor McDavid. Actually, he had been there longer. He was the first piece. It's the exact same argument I made in Toronto. Morgan Riley should have been named the captain, not Austin Matthews or John Tavares. And I said that from the beginning. And by the way, it looks like John Tavares might not be coming back as a Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs have offered him 4.5 over 3. Tavares apparently told them where to put it. Wasn't somewhere that Brad Treliving wants to put something. So it sounds like there's a very good chance that Tavares is on his way out of Toronto. Or
you need change.
Speaking of Edmonton, comments, the biggest mistake I think Edmonton made in his rebuild of his McDavid era was letting go Jordan Eberle. He would have been the perfect captain.
Yes. Heart and soul.
Perfect captain. He's like the everyday modern day Ryan Smith, in my opinion. And
Jordan Eberle is a winner as well.
They would have won the Stanley Cup by now.
Okay, and Lane, I could see you think Dan deserves a circus book here. I could see it in your face.
No, you know what?
But Jordan Eberle, you look at all his monumental moments in big games. And the New York Islanders never made it to the conference final once they let him go to keep Matt Martin in the expansion draft. You got to remember that too. That was another one. Oh my gosh. We should do a show one day at the WTF moments in sports. The where's the fudge moments in sports.
I love Matt Martin. That was a strange one.
It was crazy. But it's interesting now here. We're talking about a lot of teams that have not been able to get the job done. I don't put the Pacers in that same category yet. If they go to the finals again and lose, then sure. I'm also not saying OKC is a dynasty because you barely beat a team that was missing their star player. And it took you 7 games. You won, congratulations. But that's also just my take. Eberle was a gem. I do agree. If he was a streaming service, he would be CBC gem.
I got a player that I could argue is just as bad that they got rid of. I'm showing the stats on the screen right here. Why would they get rid of this guy? So you talk about how they need a goalie, right? They don't have a. This was your goalie.
Sam Talbot.
Look at this. 919, 239, 908, 302. Okay, one bad season. He came on 255, 917, 239, 919.
He's a very underrated goalie.
He had one bad year. You traded him. Then he goes to Calgary, 263, 919, 263, 915, 276, 911. Okay, another bad year. 250.
Okay, but Ottawa was terrible that year too.
I'm just saying. My point is you sit here complaining you goal. You had a goal. You had a goal. You keep Cam Talbot. You got rid of him because he had one bad season. Come on, man.
You actually wonder, and it's interesting too. We're going to talk about this a lot more in our pre-recorded show. But you talk about Ken Holland saying he's happy with the defense. He just wants to fix the forwards and goaltending. What? I think that's what he said in his press after the season development. Which I was very confused by that as well, considering Evan Bouchard rumored to be wanting $10 million over 8 years. Which I think if you do that, if you're Edmonton, it's just going to be Darnell Nurse all over again. You're overpaying a defenseman for a couple good years that you haven't seen enough of. I don't think Evan Bouchard's worth any more than Morgan Riley. I think he's that 7.5 to 8.5 range. That's my opinion.
I love Morgan Riley, but I think he's worth more than Morgan Riley. The $1 million question.
That's why I said 8.5. If Morgan Riley's 7.5, Evan Bouchard's 8.5.
$1 million question is how much is Evan Bouchard worth on the open market? And how much is he worth to Edmonton North?
Remember, he's worth less in the open market because he's a restricted free agent, though, right?
I'm just saying, right? Because anyone can give him an offer sheet.
Yeah, but then they have to give up a bunch of draft picks.
Give him $14 million if you want.
But going back to Lane's comment, Lane, I do agree with you that I think Edmonton had the solution in net, and they just decided to go, wait, no lie, baby, bye.
Yeah,
they had the opportunity to bring in a guy who played very well for them. He's a very good goalie. I think he was good in Detroit this year too, as much as Detroit was bad. I don't know why Detroit just went and got 18,000 mediocre goaltenders when they already had a decent goalie. But it'll be interesting to see. But at the end of the day, I do want to say this quickly, though. Congratulations to the OKC Thunder. You
100%.
are NBA champions. And Dan, I'm going to give you the floor to say your line that did actually happen last year.
Anything's possible!
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I love using that close-up one for no reason. But I think it'll be interesting. I'm very excited to see if the NBA gets a shift over the next couple years. Because if it does, could this be the team that made the shift with the Indiana Pacers? Or will we continue to see the same thing because OKC got it done? I don't know about you boys, but I'm very excited for this NBA offseason.
Yeah, really interesting.
I think this will be a really interesting offseason.
Like the
And I'm also excited because
because
we're going to have a full year on the island of Lane teaching us how basketball works.
It's
Yeah.
true. And
Now,
we-
Lane, are you good at playing basketball?
I can't play any sports, but I just watch and learn. That's what's been my motto.
Hey, those who can't do teach, so we're good.
Back in
That's
my
right.
day, I was playing a hockey player, a ball hockey player.
Okay, old man Moore. He's an old fart. Although
I just understand
I'm
it.
the one that has some gray hairs and not him.
I don't
So,
have any hair.
well,
Yeah.
you know, gray.
Also, LeBron James is a free agent. I don't know if he'll resign with the Lakers or if he's gonna
Toronto.
just retire. Yeah, no, it's not.
No, he's not going to Toronto.
Would be awesome.
No, it wouldn't.
Probably gonna go play with his kid again one more year. Actually, I still think, to be honest, I still think he might retire. But
I don't
might
think he will after that terrible playoff performance this year. Like, kind of diving into more of the NBA playoffs in general. LeBron had a bad playoff, and so did Luka.
we'll have to do an NBA free agent show too, maybe.
When is the
When does that
NBA
start?
free
It's
agency?
pretty cuts, Kyle. I think
It's
When
pretty
does the
cute.
NBA
I'm
draft
pretty
happen?
cute, Lane.
I think it's right around the time.
Somewhere hockey,
We'll
isn't
look
it?
it up. I don't know if it's the same day. I think it might be June 30th. That starts the day before
Is that the draft
coming
or
up.
free agents?
free agency.
When's the draft?
Like this week.
It comes fast.
But remember, too, for anyone who follows the island on social media, I believe we're going to be going to Ottawa that weekend, a few of us, for a big football game between the Ottawa Redblacks and the Toronto
Ooh.
Argos. So we'll be posting lots of content on there. I just picked up some beautiful microphones, so now we'll be able to do stuff out in the field, and you'll be able to hear us.
I can yell pretty good, though.
But back to the comment section we go. Maybe LeBron will continue playing until his other son is drafted.
Oh,
His
Will he
other
pull the
son.
Gordie Howe and just keep go? The crazy thing is, LeBron can't say LeBron was bad this year.
no.
Like, he's still a good player. Like, okay, maybe he's not the face, maybe he's not the best player in the league anymore, but he's certainly not bad.
It's definitely up there. Kind of like Sidney Crosby, right? Like Sidney Crosby's not.
No,
the best
you
in
could
the
still
league.
argue, in my opinion, and maybe this is a hot take, you could argue Crosby is still the best all-around player in the NHL.
Oh, didn't Lane have a hot take? What's your hot take, Lane?
How sexy.
I already
he
said it.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, by the way,
That's
it's July
what it
6th. I got it wrong. It's actually July 6th, but you can like do it Taze did. You can be like, well, I'm just signing here, and then if you don't like
Right.
it, go away.
But one thing I do find interesting in these NBA playoffs this year, and I'm curious if you guys felt the same way, is merchandise available to fans. We will get some merchandise down the road. That is something we are planning on, Dia. Here I am looking like an AI-generated question button.
Well, no, where is the Streakers hat? For
The
these
Streakers hats will be available shortly. To be honest, we are just making sure we get you guys the best quality merch for anyone who is interested in rocking some Streakers Gaming merch or some Streakers Island podcast merch. But that will become available. I'm thinking we get Lane's face on a mug just because he's so
Oh.
dashing. The
I was gonna say,
dashing
You're
mug.
not the first one to ask that, so thank you. Keep the questions coming. That's awesome,
might
people.
I don't know if you can keep up with the requests.
But one thing I'm finding very interesting here, besides of OKC, top seeds were not the ones advancing in these NBA playoffs.
Right?
No,
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
OKC beat the Grizzlies in the first round. Okay, yeah, and then we did have the Nuggets beat, but like we had the Timberwolves beat the Lakers, which was
Yep.
6th versus 3rd. We had the Warriors beat the Rockets, which was 7th versus 2nd in
Yep.
the first round. Then we had the then in the East, it was all to be expected in the first round. But then the second round in the East, you had the Pacers smoke the Cavs in 5, which
That
was
was
shock.
crazy.
Then you had the Knicks beat the Celtics in 6.
That was
That was
wild.
a shock. Oh, and then, hey, Knicks, you beat Boston. You think that now you got an easy path? Nah, screw you. You're going to lose to the Pacers. And then, as much as the Timberwolves were 6th and the Warriors were 7th in the series in the second round in the East, I actually, and a lot of people were picking the Warriors to win that series. So I think this is good for the NBA, these playoffs, as much as some of the series were shorter than what they wanted.
More predictable. Like
It
I
was
said,
more unpredictable, and I am very glad we have, woo to merch. Merch is coming. It's coming around the mountain when it comes, but it will be coming. And make sure you stay locked into our social media when we announce some of those streakers. Actually, you know what? Send us anything on social media on what kind of merch you want. That way we know what's the best merch for us to deliver. Whether you want shirts, hats, stickers, mugs
socks.
with Lane's face
People
on it.
love socks.
Socks with Dan's face on it. What about a sock of a sock of a sock? That has a tiny Streakers logo in the one corner. I'm kidding. But
I gotta say, these hats are incredible, by the way.
They are very nice
Very,
hats.
very
I just can't wear hats. Hats don't fit my head.
Like, he's got beautiful hair.
and it's just full of knowledge.
Unlike me, I don't have hair, so I gotta cover it with something.
But no, I do say though, I think for the NBA, I think this playoffs was an overall success for the NBA. It wasn't as predictable as years past. I believe ratings for the finals was good. Coffee mugs. We will put that down in the notes that we coffee mugs are something that people are interested in. I love coffee mugs. I love big coffee mugs. I got a lot of coffee in the mornings. I got a big honk.
Well, we drink a lot of coffee through these podcast episodes half the time. Stay awake.
We need to be sponsored by a coffee company, actually. Tim Hortons, give us actually, you know, country style. I actually prefer country style coffee over Tim's.
Me too, yeah.
Elaine, I think you're close to a country style, and you should go there more often because it's delicious.
I am?
I don't know. I'm just assuming.
It's on the Centennial Parkway, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm assuming I know where. I have no idea where Lane lives, actually. Dan knows.
Dan knows where I live.
But I don't.
That's
But
creep. Dan could come to my house at any moment and be like, "Hi, Lane."
Gaviscon delivery.
I think it's time we sign off for the night since we're going on about Gaviscon and Lane's face is on a shirt. But legit though, if merch is something, it's good to know people are interested in merch, and that is something that will be coming. And Dan, you can probably speak on this a little more, but the Streakers hats will be available for sale at some point in the near future. It's looking like.
Yeah, for sure. Everything comes down to timing, but Chazzy, the CEO, has already been looking into it to get more of them made. So definitely keep your eyes open, people. And
so that's great. And if you guys are interested in mugs, we will absolutely look into getting mugs.
And download the app, please.
Make sure you download the Streakers app, right? There's all different kinds of sports. And what is very cool and unique about the Streakers app, well, we have you here. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. The Streakers app gives you the ability to put in your own teams and leagues into the app. So let's say you and your buddies have a ball hockey team. You can put that ball hockey team, and matter of fact, your whole entire league in the app. And we are running a huge one-time fee for anyone who wants to go Streakers Gaming Pro, which normally it's a monthly fee, where right now for the first 1,000 people who do it are paying a one-time subscription fee. So this is a monumental opportunity to be able to jump in on this right now.
Yeah, our new update is almost complete. It's looking fantastic. It's a whole new app, whole new ball game, and we're bringing sports fantasy and the fan experience to the next level. Gamification is the future, and we're providing the future.
And also, too, it's just a really cool way where, you know what, just bringing in with the Island podcast and everything we've been doing here. And I do want to quickly say we appreciate so much to you guys who have been tuning into the Island podcast as much as you guys do. Like, from all the viewership we've been getting in on our live shows, to the increased viewership we've been getting on our pre-record, to the social media engagement. I gotta say, like, we truly appreciate all of you for taking. There's so many different shows out there and things to do in this world, and you take the time to hang out with us on the island. So we do greatly appreciate it, right? Like, it is something we know that we're trying to build something different, right? That's why we're doing live shows of live commenting and all these things. We don't want to be like your polished show on TSN. We're looking to do something different and unique where we act crazy. I throw clown books out at Dan. Dan eats ice cream and shaves his face live on the air. For anyone who hadn't seen that, Dan did shave his playoff beard live on the air.
Yeah, I always talk about like growing the family and growing the community, right? And with the Streakers app, you can play along with us on the podcast. And Lane is a prime example. Lane was a viewer of the podcast and just messaged us wanting to be on the island. So, we're growing the family, we're growing the community, and it just keeps getting amazing. We've only been doing this for 6 months, so.
And of course, I love your messed up. Honestly, the more the comments, the better. And we love a good laugh on the island.
Yeah, 100%.
So again, we truly do want to thank you guys for all your time and appreciation and just, being a part of the island. And as Dan said, make sure you do give the Streakers Gaming app a try. And if you have any questions, here's another big difference. You know who we are. So you can just send us a message saying, hey, I'm trying out the app, but I would love it if it could do this, right? All right, picture this as like a big community. We are a community, but not like the show community, although I can rap like Childish Gambino.
Chazzy is awesome. Chazzy, if someone has a question about the app, Chazzy will actually send a custom video to that person answering the question.
Now, actually, a quick video I do want to show everyone is the special coming up on the Streakers Gaming. So let's take a watch.
The world doesn't need another sports media company. It needs a platform to let every team, player, and creator become one. That's what we built. Streakers is a free app that gives anyone, teams, leagues, podcasters, influencers, the tools to launch their very own sports or esports channel. You can slide from pro sports to rec leagues to backyard games, run pick'ems, trivia, or 1v1 battles, live and on your terms. Even while I'm in the kitchen making breakfast, my audience is playing, picking, watching, and earning. That's what Streakers does. And we reward fans with custom trophies, progression-based moments cards, and the power to level up every time they play. Right now, we're inviting the first 1,000 visionaries to lock in Streakers Pro. One-time fee, full lifetime access. You get the tools, the channel, the monetization engine. Go to streakersgaming.com, explore the platform. If it hits a chord, sign up for Pro inside the app, and we'll walk you through how you build and monetize your channel. This is your sports channel. This is your moment. This is your Streakers. And now it's in your hands, the fans' hands. Let's go.
Amazing.
Just wanted to quickly share that about our special here. Because it's an awesome opportunity, and I have you guys in front of me, so I'm like, you're gonna see it whether you like it or not, because you're watching, and I know you like it. Who doesn't want to see Chazzy, right? He's almost as dashing as Lane Dashing Dash.
Boy, about his phone was down to 7% in that video.
You know what? That's living on the edge, Dan.
Exactly. Yeah, I see your head, bro.
Red zone.
Yeah.
But I think it's time that we sign off for the night, because we still have a pre-recorded show we got to do for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for tuning into the Streakers Island podcast, joined with myself, sports analyst, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, actually, I love to say.
Oh,
That's a long story behind that. And, of course, something's good night. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
We also have
we go show do tonight.
Mr. More Free Money.
Woo!
And the most dashing of them all, not Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Lane Dashing Dashco. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.